Few branches of science divide opinion as sharply as that championed by Professor David Keith. He's one of the preeminent geoengineers, striving to find new ways to combat global warming by altering the way the sea, the clouds and the atmosphere work. This isn't a replacement, he says, for the political drive to reduce emissions. But is geoengineering a cost-effective emergency stopgap before the effects of climate change become irreversible? Or a dangerous leap into the unknown?
I think it's crucial to distinguish these two completely different kinds of things. Carbon removal is inherently expensive. We can disagree about exactly how much, but it's expensive. Putting sulfates in the aerosol is potentially so cheap that costs are irrelevant, in the same sense as when you think about security strategy, that actual cost of nuclear warheads is not a big driver in security strategy. Costs are so cheap that the richest people on the planet could perhaps afford to buy an ice age, that individual small states could act alone. So I'm working with one of the leading contractors of high-altitude aircraft in the U.S., Aurora Flight Sciences. We're in the middle of a contract they have with us looking at the costs of doing this, and the costs are, as we thought, small. These costs
would you add it to the fuel, or would it?
No, that doesn't work at all. That's in the blogosphere. No, you build custom aircraft that would fly at about 65,000, 75,000 feet. That would put the appropriate sulfur, whatever it is, in the atmosphere. And the costs of doing that really work out to be low enough that costs don't matter.
The richest men on the planet could afford to buy an ice age. What a very interesting quote, especially coming from someone who was actually a recipient of that money that we talked about earlier, coming from Bill Gates looking into geoengineering. So this is not quite as theoretical as some would have you believe, and they would have you believe that this is all very theoretical at this stage, the spraying of pollutants into the atmosphere in order to prevent sunlight from getting in order to stop global warming.
Aerosol geoengineering looks like it is so cheap that the cost is basically not going to be an issue. That means that implementation decisions will be risk-to-risk decisions. But I think the more we do research, the less easy this will look, the more complicated the environmental effects will look. And that's a good thing, because right now it looks too easy. So I think that if we do more research, we're likely to find out that it's harder and more complicated than we thought, and the side effects are harder to manage. And by the way, it's not really a moral hazard, it's more like free riding on our grandkids. And by the way, it's not really a moral hazard, it's more like free riding on our grandkids.